Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is Diary TV and I'm still your girl Ogenekara Asoe. Today we're diving deep into a dramatic moment in Nigerian football history that still echoes through the sport today. It's a story of a game that seemed like a hard-fought draw, only for FIFA to step in and flip the script entirely. I'm talking about the time the Super Eagles of Nigeria had 3 points and 3 goals stripped away in the World Cup qualifier against Algeria back in 2017. How did it happen? What went down on the pitch that night? And why did FIFA make such a drastic call? Stick with me as we break it all down, how the game was played out, what led to the punishment, and how this wasn't the first time something like that shook up a qualifying campaign. Let's rewind to November 10, 2017 in Constantine, Algeria, for a match that will leave a mark on Nigerian football for all the wrong reasons. This wasn't just any game. It was part of the 2018 FIFA World Cup qualifier, and Nigeria were already in a strong position to punch their ticket to Russia. The Super Eagles were flying high, topping their group with confidence, but this match against Algeria, it turned into a roller coaster, both on the field and in the rule books. And trust me, by the end of this story, you'll see why attention to detail is everything in football. We'll also look at how this incident connects to past controversy, including some that hit Nigeria before and others that rocked teams around the world. So grab a drink, settle in, and let's get into it. Let's paint the picture of that night in Constantine. November 10, 2017. The Stadium Mohammed Halwous is buzzing with energy. Algeria, the Desert Fox, were out of contention for the World Cup, but they weren't about to roll over for Nigeria. Pride was on the line and the Super Eagles knew they had to stay sharp to lock in their qualification. The game kicked off and it was tense from the start. Nigeria are controlling possession early, probing for openings, but Algeria defense is holding firm. The first half rolls by with no goal. It's a chess match, both teams sizing up each other. Nigeria's attack, led by players like Victor Moses and Alex Iwobi, is dangerous, but they can't quite break through. Algeria, meanwhile, are relying on quick counters, trying to catch the Eagles off guard. The crowd is roaring, the tension is building, and you can feel this one is going to come down to a moment of brilliance or a mistake. Then, in the 62nd minute, it happened. Nigeria strikes. John Ogu, the midfielder with a knack for stepping up, gets on the end of a well-worked move and fires the goal past the Algerian keeper. 1-0 to the Super Eagles. The traveling Nigeria fans erupt and it looked like the team is about to seal the deal. On the sideline, Coach Gernot Rohr is pacing, urging his players to stay focused, but Algeria aren't done yet. They push back hard, throwing everything at Nigeria's defense. Stanley Nwabali in goal is tested, but the backline, including Shehu Abdullahi, stands strong. Also, it seems. Fast forward to the 88th minute of the game. Algeria wins a penalty. The stadium explodes as Yacine Brahimi steps up. He coolly slots it home. 1-1. The Super Eagles are stunned, but they dig in for the final moment. The whistle blows and it's a draw. A point on the road in a tough place like Constantine. Not the worst result actually. Nigeria still finished top of their group with 14 points, 4 clear of Zambia. Qualification secure, job done, right? Well, not quite, because while the players shook hands and the fans fired out, something else was brewing behind the scene, something that would turn this gritty draw into a 3-0 loss. What went wrong? It wasn't the goals or the tactic. It was one player, Shehu Abdullahi. See, Algeria had played the game under protest. They've spotted something Nigeria hadn't, or at least hadn't acted upon. Shehu, a key defender, had picked up 2 yellow cards in earlier matches in the campaign, and by FIFA rule, that meant it was supposed to sit this one out. But there he was on the pitch, playing the full 90 minutes, and that decision, it was about to cost Nigeria big time. So, how did FIFA go from 1-1 draw to docking Nigeria 3 points and 3 goals? Let's break it down. After the match, Algeria lodged a formal protest with FIFA. The argument was simple. Shehu Abdullahi shouldn't have been on that field. According to FIFA disciplinary code, a player who picks up 2 yellow cards in separate matches of a qualifying campaign is automatically suspended for the next game. Shehu had been cautioned twice before, once earlier in the qualifier, and somehow that slipped through the cracks. Now you might be wondering, how does a team miss something like that? Well, it's not entirely clear. Reports suggest FIFA had communicated Shehu's suspension to the Nigerian Football Federation, the NFF, as is standard practice. But whether it's a clerical error or a breakdown in communication or just plain oversight, the NFF didn't bench him. Shehu played and Algeria pounced on that mistake. They didn't even need to wait long. FIFA ruled on December 12, 2017, just a month after the game. The punishment was harsh but standard. FIFA overturned the result, awarding Algeria a 3-0 victory by default. Nigeria's point from the draw was gone. Their goal difference slashed by 3. They were also fined 6,000 Swiss francs, about $6,000 as at that time, for good measure. The final tally saw the Super Eagles drop from 14 points to 12 points in the group standing. Luckily, they've already built enough to qualify for Russia 2018 anyways, finishing 4 points ahead of Zambia. But the sting of that ruling, it lingered. This wasn't about the performance on the pitch, it was a paperwork penalty, a reminder that in modern football, the rule book can hit you harder than any opponent. And here's the kicker, Algeria didn't even benefit directly. They were already eliminated. This was pure principle, but maybe a little spite. For Nigeria, it's a wake-up call to how important dotting every I's and crossing every T is in international competitions. This wasn't the first time FIFA dropped the hammer like that, nor was it the last. Let's zoom out and look at some history. Nigeria themselves have been on the wrong end of eligibility issues before. Back in the 1990s, during a qualifier for the 1998 World Cup, they fielded an overage player in a youth tournament, which led to sanction. It was a reoccurring theme, administrative slip-up costing team dearly. But this is not just Nigeria. Take Ethiopia in the 2014 World Cup qualifiers. They beat Botswana 3-0. Only for FIFA to find out they used a suspended player, Mayihi Tasome Beyene. Result was overturned to a 3-0 loss. European campaign took a hit, and then there's Cape Verde. Also in 2014 qualifiers, they fielded Fernando Varela, who was supposed to be banned in a win over Tunisia. FIFA flipped it to a 3-0 defeat, and Tunisia went to the playoff instead. More recently, in the 2022 qualifiers, Equatorial Guinea had 2 wins reversed because of an issue with striker Emilion Su eligibility. Turns out, there were questions about his naturalization. FIFA doesn't mess around when it comes to the rules. And fast forward to 2025, yep. Right now, South Africa is facing a similar issue in the 2026 qualifiers. They played Thabo Mokoena against Lesotho, despite him having 2 yellow cards. Lesotho protested, and while FIFA hasn't ruled yet, the precedent is clear. A 3-point deduction could be coming. History keeps repeating itself. What ties all these cases together? It's not always about cheating. Sometimes it's just human error. Someone forgetting to check a suspension list or misreading a rule. But FIFA's stance is firm. Ignorance is not an excuse. For the Super Eagles in 2017, it was a bitter lesson, one that didn't derail their World Cup dream that time, but still left a scar. So what's the takeaway from all this? That night in Constantine wasn't just a draw that turned into a loss. It was about the fine line between triumph and disaster in football, a line that is often drawn off the pitch in offices and rule books. The Super Eagles fought hard for that point against Algeria, only to see it snatched away because of a mix-up they could have avoided. It's a story of resilience, sure. They still made it to Russia in 2018, but also a cautionary tale. Looking at today with the 2026 World Cup qualifiers heating up, Nigeria is in a tough spot again. They are chasing South Africa in Group C and every point counts. If FIFA does dock South Africa those 3 points for the Makwena issue, it could be a lifeline for the Super Eagles. But they can't rely on others slipping up. They've got to tighten their own ships. No more Shehu Abdullahi moments. No more paperwork penalties. And that's it for today's deep dive, folks. What do you think? Did Nigeria get unlucky in 2017, or was it a fair punishment? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you've enjoyed this, and subscribe for more football stories. Until next time, keep loving the game, and maybe double check those penalty lists, suspension lists. Peace out.